counseling, student counseling. What's the end time? 10 o'clock. So 7 to 8:30 for middle school, and then it's over at 10. All right, because we got to get ready for the next day, catch that bus to go ice skating. So let's have a good day. Let's have a good week. And turn it over to Dr. J.
They clarify what grade?
That is interesting because 5th and 6th, are they coming to this dance?
I was going to do 6 through 12.
All right, so 6 through 12.
Is it 7 to 12?
6 through 12.
6 through 12?
All right, so just asking, because that's a whole nother class that doesn't come to this Bible study.
Not clarified on the grade level.
It is kind of a gray area on there because jump rope for heart, I kind of got that 5th and 6th grade class doing jump rope for heart just because. So 7 makes it a lot easier. 7 through 12. All right. Does everybody understand that? All right, Dr. J, it's all yours.
How many of you need a job? All right, I've got some good news and some bad news. Jobs are wide open. Everybody is welcome to them. That's the good news. Bad news is it's only part-time. You have to be willing to wear a red suit. You got to let kids sit in your lap and pee on you. I don't know. I want to read to you when I finally got out of the hospital, the only time I'd ever been in it. About 3 months later, I took up my newspaper column and continued to write in it. And I believe this was the first column that I wrote. I'm going to read it to you. I've read it to you before, but I don't take time to read it to you again because I don't have it memorized. I gave this at, many of you know I teach college. I gave this at Jones graduation. I teach at Jones College. And that's why there's so many references to Jones. I'm Dr. Keith Johnson. If you've observed me at all, you've seen I'm constantly followed by a walker. On June 17, 2008, I was traveling on my Honda Shadow Spirit motorcycle down Arlington Expressway to teach my evening college classes. I can't tell you in detail what happened next, but somewhere between the expressway and the University Boulevard exit, I ran into a car. The car ran into me, driven by a 21-year-old with a revoked license. I was told that I went flying over the car and was dragged about 40 feet. Police and medical attendants thought I was dead. Somehow I ended up at Shands, where they tell me I had a tracheotomy. They had to weld my broken pelvis together, install a bolt into my right leg so that I could keep my right leg, which ended up paralyzing my entire right side for a while. Most of the rest of the month, in brief memory of hopeful workers and visitors that came in and arrived, including the Foundation Academy, I was still breathing. Many of them, including my own family, believing I would soon die, were in preparation for my own death. When I finally came to full consciousness, the question was, why am I still living? In the Depression, I feel I would have been just a part of the Lord's kingdom, and I would just as soon He took me and welcomed me into His kingdom. Any work that He wanted me to do could be done by someone else far more adequate than myself, and certainly without a broken body. And so I construed to my depression, excusing myself from the responsibility of living while struggling with my pain. I'd never before been in a hospital as a patient, never had surgery, never sick a day in my life. While in my self-appointed depression, I was visited by a friend who brought me a piece of paper. I thought of you when I read this, and I decided to tear it out of my book and give it to you. She handed it to me. I couldn't talk to her because for the first 3 months I was totally silent, which, by the way, many people were thankful for. I picked up the piece of paper and I read it. I believe that the book said it was from Daily Blessings. This is what the piece of paper said that she handed to me. Store up comfort. The world is full of hurting and comfortless hearts. But before you will be comforted to do this, you will have to be trained. And your training is extremely costly. For to make it count and compute, you will have to explore the same afflictions that others have gone through, wringing countless hearts of tears and blood. Consequently, your own life becomes the hospital ward where you are taught the divine art of comfort. You will be wounded so that in the binding up of your wounds, you will learn how to render the wounded everywhere and how to help them. You wonder why you're having to experience some great sorrow? Imagine what my son has gone through to save you. In the last few years, you will find many others afflicted with the same malady that you've had. You will tell them how you suffered and how you were comforted and of the problems you had in finding that comfort. As the story unfolds, the anaesthetic creation of medicine will bring to you an administration to those who need help by you. Then, in the eager look followed by the glisten of hope that changes the shadow of deeper from their soul, you will know why you were allowed to live. And you will bless God for the discipline that listed your life and teach others the experience and helpfulness of coming to Christ. We are comforted not to make us comfortable, but to make us comforters. It was while I was pondering the possible meaning of what I was reading in that piece of paper that I received an unexpected visit from the president of the college, Jones, and some of his staff, deans and faculty, including students. During the first 2 months of my tracheotomy, I could not talk. And during that vital time, I had to listen. And for some reason, they were grateful for that. But in my difficulties with President McCarthy and some of the deans, they begged me to come back and joked with me often, asking me to teach, saying that I had not need to give up, but I needed to get back there and do what I could. You can't know how grateful I was to listen to them tell me that they wanted me back. And you can't know how grateful they were that I couldn't talk. And when I finally felt I was healthy enough to return, Mrs. Jones and President McCafferty came to the hospital and escorted me back to my home to get me ready. So why am I still alive? Every time I look in the face of one of our students, college or otherwise, I see a chance for other hope, a reason to teach, and the possibility of knowing that that person could come to Christ and bring others countless with him, or helped a faculty member with a problem, or assisted in the administration with some difficulty that the college needed in some small way, hoping that I could change the world for the better. I speak to every teacher and administrator, to every student graduating or not, every family member that can hear me and can be helpful, every person in this auditorium. I tell you to take it from a person who literally touched the edge of death and then returned to life, broken and humbled. Don't take your gift of life for granted. Know that God has given you a reason for that next breath that you just took. If you can breathe, you need to be grateful. If you can stand on your own strength and walk without assistance, you need to be doubly grateful. And if you have a future where you have the opportunity to change the world for the better, know that such a privilege can be taken away from you in a second, whether it be on a motorcycle, in a car, driving, landing a message, texting, walking under a loose rock, or simply slipping on a stone. Life is fragile. The Bible says, like a piece of grass, cut away and immediate. Your life is not only fragile, it is sacred. You have no guarantee that you'll be here by lunch. And I want to thank you students, the administration and faculty, and all those that have helped me try to get back to life. You guys have a Merry Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll give you another gift. I won't sing. Thank you.